Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is look number 4 of this week only using the Mikayla palette from Glamlight. I decided to go all in. As you can see, I went like full-on unicorn. I wanted to sort of dip into the shades that I've been playing with in the first 3 looks. If you want to see how I did this eyeshadow look, don't go anywhere. If you're new here, hello, my name is Rachel and I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom who loves to play with colorful eyeshadow. I upload multiple videos every week that are all eyeshadow related, so remember to like and subscribe if you like this sort of thing. Down in my description box, I'm going to link the week of series because I do this with many palettes. You know, I've done an entire week of uploads using just one palette with 3 or 4 different palettes at this time. So this is the week of Mikayla. It's linked in the description box, as well as the first 3 looks using the Mikayla palette. So if you want to see any of that, I also have a Glamlight playlist, which I can link down there as well. And without further ado, let's get rolling with this eye look because I had a lot of fun. Okay guys, so in this last video in my Week of Mikayla series, I said at the beginning that I wanted to do colorful looks all week. Remember, Mikayla has 2 rows basically of neutrals, and I just find them very unexciting. Now, I had a thought originally to do like a neutral lid space and then a really colorful under eye, but as I was falling asleep last night, I thought, oh, what if I did a really colorful crease, a really colorful under eye, and then I just cut it with a sparkle in the middle? I don't know. So I have no idea how today's look is going to turn out. It might be terrible. It might be awesome. Could go either way, really. And I don't even have a totally firm plan as far as the color sequence, but I do want to put a lot of colors and just sort of, you know, play them out in a little stripy pattern, top and bottom. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to prime my eyes using the Glamlight Icing Primer, and we'll get started. So I think the way that I'm going to do this video is to tell you guys what my plan is, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a music over. It's not going to be super long. I don't have anything particularly interesting to chat about, and I heard my baby start to wake up, so I don't want noises on the baby monitor to be disruptive to you guys watching the video. So let me tell you what my plan is. I think I want to do yellow into green, into blue, into purple, into pink. That's my plan. So I think I'm going to do that in the crease, and then I will lay down a shimmer. I'm not sure which shimmer yet. And then I'm going to mirror that same sequence of colors on the lower lash line and join it all out in the outer corner, and it might look insane. I'm probably going to look like a circus tent when I'm done. But I think it's going to be fun to just do a super colorful look and kind of bring in all the shades that I've been using all week. So yeah, I've already primed my eyes, like I said. Let's zoom in and get going. First, with a small blending brush, I'm taking the shade Handy and I'm putting this just at the inner corner of my eyelid crease. Then, using the same brush, which is the brush that I use for laying down all of these colors, I'm grabbing the shade The Best Color and I lay this right next to the yellow, but I realized that the undertones are just too far apart. So after this, I go into the shade Loop, which is more of a yellow-based green matte, and I use that to bridge the gap between the yellow and the mint shades. Now I'm using the light blue matte. It's called Rhodey. This is one of my favorite colors in the palette. Honestly, all of these pastel tones are so very pigmented and brilliant. They're so much fun to play with. They give you great color payoff and blendability. Blending into this blue shade, now I have the color MJ. This is a nice purple matte. It's the lightest purple matte in the palette, but it's not terribly light. It's more mid-toned, but it's blending nicely into the blue. Now it's time to dip into the pink. This is the shade called Iconic, and I'm using this to blend into the purple, of course. It sort of goes all purple on me, so I do end up adding in more pink later. Blending into the purple, creating the little V shape that I like in the outer corner, and I'm also laying this on the outer corner of my eyelid space. With this small and fanned blending brush, I'm starting at the inner corner, starting with the yellow and the light greens and blues, and blending out the edges of these shadows. The reason I start in the inner corner is because I don't want to carry the deeper pigments over to the lighter pigments, so I'm starting at the lightest and working darker. That way any dark blues or purples or pinks that end up on my brush don't transfer down to the yellow and get muddy. This part of the process did take a little bit of time because of the sheer number of colors that I laid down and the fact that blue and purple and pink don't naturally blend into a skin tone. So you just have to be patient here. And where I thought that it wasn't blending nicely enough into my skin, I grabbed the neutral shade in this palette called Harley, which is the closest to my skin tone. It's not ideal, but since it's Week of Mikayla, I have to stay in the Mikayla palette. That's the one I took. And I put that on my brush and I just sort of flicked it up from the edge of each of these colors and then I worked it a little bit more to soften all those edges a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with that same small blending brush that I used for every one of these shades. I'm going to add in a little bit more pigment now on top of the blended foundation, and I'm going to carry those colors onto my lower lash line as well. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out which shimmer to use. I think I might actually use two, because obviously the inner half of my lid space is a little bit warmer toned and the outer half is a little bit cooler toned. And also there aren't, I really wish this palette had like a champagne shimmer, because that would match everything. But because it doesn't, I feel like putting a really cool toned shimmer at the inner half is gonna look weird, and putting a warm toned shimmer at the outer half is gonna, I just feel like it's gonna clash a little bit. So I think I'm going to take the shade Glow Up, and I'll put that in the inner half, and then I'm going to grab the shade Naz, which I know I used before, but who cares? It's a totally different look. I'm going to put Naz in the outer half and just blend that into this light pink matte. This is not a super deep or dramatic look, obviously. It's not really going any deeper than this in the outer corner. It's just more pastel, and that's why I wish I had a champagne shimmer, because that would match everything, but also specifically be much lighter toned and just be a sparkle. Anyway, this is looking a little bit crazy and a little bit fun. I'm going to get a concealer and do a half cut crease, and then I will put on those two shimmers, like I said. So here I am cutting my crease, but I didn't end up doing this on the second eye because I found that it was totally unnecessary, really. The shimmers didn't apply very nicely to the concealed area, but I cut it and then I made sure it was dry before I applied any more shadow. When I went to apply more shadow, as I always do, I loaded my brush and then I sprayed it. But then when I put it over top of the concealed area, it didn't really work very well. It just sort of slimed back and forth. I went back and I tried to set the concealed area with a neutral colored powder, in this case the shade Harley from the palette, and that didn't work very well either. So I ended up applying both shimmers with my fingers, and they applied very nicely that way. This is a white kohl eyeliner, which is linked along with everything else in my description box. I used this to tightline my entire lower waterline because I felt like I had enough colors going on, and the white brings out every color, matches nicely, and really brightens up that area even more. All right, so here is where we are now. As you saw, I did white in the waterline. It's looking a little bit messy over here, but I'll clean that up with concealer, won't be a problem. I'm gonna put on some black eyeliner. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do a wing or if I'm gonna do an inner corner flick or if I'm just gonna line my lashes. Haven't decided. This is the sort of look, because it's so light and pastel, that if you do a wing and it doesn't work out for you, it's gonna be extremely noticeable. So I'm not sure if that's my journey today, but I'm gonna go off camera and finish this up, do this side, and I'll be back in just a second to show you guys how it looks all said and done. Okay. I am full on unicorn today. My husband is gonna think I've lost my ever-loving mind. This is the finished look, obviously both sides done. I did do a full eyeliner with the inner flick. I lined my lashes and I did a wing in the outer corner. I was feeling ambitious and they didn't turn out terrible. My regular eyeliner product is a House Labs marker tip, and it's starting to dry out on the very tip, so I can't get the definition that I want anymore in the outer wing. And so I need to revitalize my gel liner and just go back to using a paintbrush and see, Anyway, I'm not amazing at wings. I'm better than I used to be, but it's always a work in progress. So I'm pretty happy with how today's wings turned out. I used this bronzer on my cheeks. This is from Physicians Formula. That's the dog being obnoxious. And then I used a So Glassy formula from ColourPop on my lips in the shade Local, and I used NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Eclair. Everything that I've used is linked down below, from the palette to the bronzer, concealer, whatever, everything is down in the description box. So here is the finished look, and it is so much fun. I am loving it. I'm feeling, like I said, very unicorn today. And I just thought it would be a great way to close out the week of Mikayla by being as colorful as possible and sort of combining all of the various colors and shades that I'd used throughout the week and just going to town, having fun. I think the look is lovely. I think it's fun. I think it's weird and funky. And again, I do look like a circus tent, but that's okay. Maybe not as primary colored. I don't know. It's so much fun. I had a great time doing this eyeshadow look. I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys again really soon in my next video. Bye!